on, everybody? Welcome to the Roll the Dice Fantasy Podcast. Take two. This really should be episode 2, but a little technical difficulties
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
got in the way. But
It happens.
we're going to kick off a little Week 8 NFL preview, fantasy preview, injury preview maybe. You never know with the way the season's going.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they're hearing this, it's going to probably be Friday afternoon. So we're going to touch on tonight's game, but maybe we'll do like our picks of for the night, and we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, I think that works. We'll breeze through tonight's game because by the time you guys see this, it'll be tomorrow, Friday. So, but tonight, Thursday night, we got Falcons-Panthers, little NFC South battle. Falcons coming off an atrocious loss against the Lions, which they should have won. Todd Gurley fucked that up, but it's all right. We'll give you a pass, Todd, against the 3-4 Panthers. It's in Charlotte. I think everyone's good to go except McCaffrey. He's not in. The Panthers had until 4 o'clock to activate him off IR. They never did. So I guess they're being cautious. I mean, running back.
Mike Davis doesn't look bad. So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting a little bounce back performance from Davis. New Orleans they're a tough team to run on. They kind of stifled them. Even in the receiving department, they shut him down. So he had a quiet fantasy day, but I'm expecting him to have a big night here against Atlanta. And then just touching on McCaffrey real quick again. I guess it makes sense. They're being cautious with their franchise player, best running back.
That's your guy. You don't want to push it, and he play 3 snaps and get hurt again. You don't want to see that. So
yeah, I mean, especially coming off an ankle sprain, like things like that can re-aggravate and shit like that. So
exactly.
And you got a guy like Mike Davis who's carrying the load pretty well. Calvin Ridley, what do you expect from him tonight?
I think Atlanta is just going to do their thing. They're going to air it out. They got so many weapons on offense, so Calvin Ridley is just going to, go out there and eat. He's going to, what is he? He's probably averaging stupid numbers in terms of targets and receptions. So I think he's a big time play. If you picked him up in your draft, you just keep running him in that wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 slot. He's going to put up the points.
Yeah. No, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, Ridley's been, he was probably, when you look back, if we were to do a redraft, I think Ridley can maybe go late first round, early second round. He's the number 1 fantasy receiver so far, in my opinion.
He's being targeted 9 times a game, averaging 88 yards. So,
yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, he's a beast. And then I retweeted something before. I just want to run through that real quick. It was ridiculous. Yeah. All right, Calvin Ridley this season. This is from PFF. 19 catches of 15-plus yards. That's first in the league. 33 catches for first downs. That's first in the league. And he's got 6 touchdowns. It's tied for third.
Yeah,
among receivers. Among receivers, I'd assume, obviously. But
absolute beast. And
he's a stud.
He put up one goose. I think it was an absolute goose egg of a game, and people got a little worried.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had no catches, but he bounced back.
You got to believe in this offense, and it's Matty Ice that's throwing in the pigskin. So he's gonna get targeted. He's gonna get his catches. Yep. He's gonna throw in some tutties in there, and he's gonna get you your points. So
yes, sir.
And you're just gonna see probably more of that tonight.
I mean, and he's consistent too, and it's what you want from a guy like from your wide receiver 1. You want consistency. I mean, you want at least 15 to 20 every week.
The wide receiver matchups tonight is probably going to be a show because you got Calvin Ridley and Julio, absolute dominant wide receivers, going up against Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. I mean, can you ask for more yards out of both teams from 4 receivers?
It's star-studded for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're going to have a little fun tonight, I think. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think the over-under, let's see. The over-under's at, right now it's at 51.5. It's probably going to be up there. So
hammer it.
Hammer
the over.
If you ain't betting over, I don't know what you're doing. We love points, baby.
Dude, we love the points, man. We love the SG. We love the same game parlays on FanDuel. Shout out to FanDuel.
Yep. Shout out to FanDuel. This could be a potential good game to throw that insurance bet on. So
absolutely.
And then a lot of people are saying Teddy in the fantasy game. He's just been that
Teddy B. Teddy
Yeah,
Two Gloves.
he's been
He's like a. I
consistently
mean, he's a consistent QB.
good. Yeah,
He's a
exactly.
consistent QB. Um, he does. I feel like he does like everything like good. Like he's not an elite quarterback or anything, but I mean, considering his career was almost over and then he revitalizes, going 5-0 when Breeze was hurt last year with the Saints.
Yep.
Finds a home in Carolina, and he's having a great year. Obviously Anderson leaving the Jets, getting away from Gase. Anderson's revitalized his career. DJ Moore, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, even with Mike Davis, they're scary. But when CMC comes back,
Yeah, I mean,
it
they can make a little run on
this
the wall. I mean, they're 3-4 right now. I mean, tonight I would
this whole
expect them to
division,
win.
man, this whole division,
Yeah, the
scary.
division's tight, man. You got Tampa up there at 5-2. Saints are 4-2. It's gonna be a good race. But yeah, I mean,
Absolutely,
Bridgewater, he's averaging 17.8 a game. He's a top 20 fantasy quarterback right now on ESPN. So fire him up tonight with confidence against that
absolutely.
Falcons defense, which is very leaky, to say the least. Todd Gurley, he's having a good year, I would
I mean,
say.
the dude. I mean, coming off his injury, I think this was a really good place for him to be. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's putting up 70 yards a game, averaging a rushing touchdown a game. What more can you ask from the guy? And
He's getting a crazy workload too. I mean, he's getting 20 plus touches every game.
yep. Yeah.
He's played in every game, which is crazy to me. I mean, he's gotten some durability back, which is great.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, the last
after
couple
the
weeks
last few
he's
years,
looked really good. So
yeah, he's looked strong. I didn't think he had any knees left after that the Super
for
Bowl
real,
trip, but
more power
you
to
know,
him, man. More power to him. Um, but I don't really see much. I mean, it's going to be a high scoring game.
I think so.
Joey
Almost made an
Sly.
NFL record. Almost kicked 65 yards.
Yeah,
Was a yard short.
you
Shout
know,
out to him.
there's going to be points on the board tonight for a
He's
lot of
got a
fantasy
boot.
owners.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But let's do a little. What do you think? You wanna bet you wanna bet spread? You wanna bet money line? What would you take here? What would you take here on this game? We got the spreads at +1.5. Atlanta.
Plus one and a
Uh,
half Atlanta.
and yeah, so Panthers are the favorite.
Yeah,
I'm taking
I see the Panthers are -2. Um, I think they cover the -2. Honestly, um,
really.
I would take an alternate. I would take 2.5 just because when it's the even numbers, it gets tricky.
All right, so we're
Um,
so we're seeing different. I think the Falcons break through, and I think I would tease
you think they
and
get it
take. I would say +3.
+3?
+3. Falcons. Lock it in,
Interesting. I
baby.
mean, anything could happen in a divisional game. I mean, I've always said that divisional games
But
are,
we can agree
divisional
on
games
one
are
thing.
weird.
The over.
Oh, hammer the over. Absolutely.
Even
51 and a
though
half, that's going over.
Thursday night games are slow though, historically.
Yeah, but
But you
I mean,
got you got to
these are
you got to fire the over. You got to fire the over.
two high powered offenses.
I agree.
I mean, the Panthers defense is pretty solid. The Falcons defense, obviously, not the strongest part of their team. So I would expect points. I mean, Cardinals, Seahawks. That was what 71 they hit.
Yeah. I
So I
mean,
mean, I would expect. I mean,
you got to rip it.
I
You
would
got to rip
expect
it.
the over here tonight. Absolutely.
All right. Cool.
That takes care of tonight. Move on to Sunday.
Move on to
Little
Sunday, the
Sunday
1 o'clock.
action.
You got a bunch of 1 o'clocks.
Yeah, there's only 3 games at 4. There's only 3 in the late window. A lot of 1 o'clocks. Our buys this week: Cardinals, Washington football team, the Jags, and the Texans. They get a week off.
Yeah. Listen to this. Listen to my idiotic move today in my other fantasy league. So I picked up Leonard Fournette at the beginning of the week because I picked up Edmonds, but all of the rest of my guys are
Fournette,
on buys, and he's
Fournette was
on a buy
available.
this week. Yeah, it's an 8-man league, so there's a
Oh
ton,
yeah.
there's a ton of people available. My dumbass goes in there. I'm like, oh shit, Chase Edmonds is available. I dropped him. I pick him up, and now I have like four running backs on a buy. I have to try to re-pick up Leonard Fournette, and
Oh,
it doesn't go through until Saturday morning. And I'm like 7th on the waiver, so
someone's snagging him.
I better get him back, or I'm
I
just
mean, if
not gonna
someone
run.
doesn't snag him, then you got lucky. But
Yeah, I'm a dumbass though.
those bye weeks, man, they'll kill you.
Yep.
It's 1 o'clock. We'll start off with your squad. We got the Pats against the Bills. This is in Buffalo, unfortunately for you and the Pats. Cam gets to start, obviously. I think Belichick reassured it too. He was like, I mean, Cam's our starter. So,
oh yeah, after the game, he's
obviously.
like, Cam's still our guy. But in Cam's mind, after that performance last Sunday, you're trying to prove yourself in this one, especially after going up against young Josh Allen. So I think this should be an interesting one for sure.
A very inconsistent Josh Allen at that too.
True.
I don't know, man. I think COVID could have messed with Cam. I don't know if it's. I mean, I don't think it's still bothering him, but I think it definitely threw not only him, but I think it threw that team out of rhythm too.
For sure, and I think there's just a lot of stuff going on in that locker room with injuries too. Stephon Gilmore, Cam with COVID, Edelman's now he's week to week.
Edelman had knee operation, yeah.
Yep. So I think
you got to rely on that defense.
There's a list of injuries, but you want. I mean, being a Patriot fan, you want to see him do better than 2-4, and this is a big AFC East matchup. Buffalo has been looking really good, so if we could snag a W, it'd be great.
Their defense is solid.
But in terms of fantasy, you want to see Cam, ball out, get two rushing touchdowns.
I mean, he set the. I mean, last week he had negative 0.18, 3 picks. So
yeah, I mean,
he set the bar low. I think he's going to
get better. You can only get better. So
no, I think he's going to have a decent day. I think he's going to have like 15 to 20 points. But yeah,
they're struggling a little bit in the running game. They're deep. They ran a three-man system forever. They got Harris, Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead.
James White's there. James White, is he playing?
I don't know if he's playing.
He's healthy now, I think.
Yeah. Well, his deal was his.
Yeah, obviously. I mean,
terrible situation. Hard to bounce back from, but hopefully, typically the run game's pretty good and they're super deep in that position, so we'll see. But they're lacking, I think, in the wide receiver slot. They're not going to have Edelman. N'Keal Harry, ton of potential out of the kid. So if Cam could get going and get this kid going, then there's a lot of upside potential for him. So for sure, I think that's a something you want to look at in this game is can N'Keal Harry break out, but it's going to really depend on Cam. I think that's a big thing there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I would agree with you there. But yeah, I mean, I would peg N'Keal Harry maybe a little breakout game here. As we said, Edelman's out. He's really, I mean, he's got to be the number one receiving option in that game.
Yep.
I don't know how well they're gonna be able to pass the ball. Weather's looking rainy in Buffalo on Sunday, 52. Could see a lot of running, a lot of maybe screen passes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The running backs, PPR dream. Devin Singletary, been a huge bust this year.
It's.
I'm not sure what his ADP was, but I definitely know he's not living up to that for sure.
Well, and then you got the kid in the backfield dropping back, Josh Allen. They want him throwing the ball around, and he's done that. He's shown that he could throw the ball, and his wide receiving core is.
That's true. I mean, yeah. I mean, with Diggs getting there,
but you would think at the rate that they throw the ball that the offensive line could open some holes for a Singletary to run. So, and right now this Patriot defense isn't looking too hot, and they literally got ran over by San Francisco last week. So I think you could see a big game out of Singletary too. So I think he's due for another guy in this game that you could look for a big breakout game for sure.
Word. Stephon Diggs is having a great year in Buffalo.
Legend.
Over 600 receiving yards. I mean, 7 games in, he's on pace easily at 1,000 receiving yards. Touchdowns he's got 3 touchdowns on the year. But I mean, he's getting like 10 to 15 targets a game. So easy wide receiver 1 play there.
Yep. Tight end plays. I know we do a wide receiver tight end option, but last week it looked like they're getting their tight ends involved. So Croft might be a play. Knox, they're both potential plays
Croft,
for
yeah, it
a
could be
tight
a
end
play.
position if you're struggling in that area
Yeah,
in your fantasy team. From what I was seeing last week.
yeah. Dawson Knox actually on the COVID list. He tested
Oh, really?
positive
Okay, word.
last weekend. So, I mean, yeah, it could be a little opportunity there for
But
Croft.
I'm pretty sure Croft was getting a ton of targets last week, so definitely could look at him to.
Yeah, I mean, he had 4 targets in the game against the Jets. So he could be a little more involved, especially without Dawson Knox there playing. So, tight ends are kind of hit or miss. I mean, unless we're talking about like the top 5,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. But
tight
I
ends are
think,
absolutely hit or miss. But
this just comes down to a typical AFC East matchup. It's gonna be one of those tough games. So
yeah, I mean, if anything, I mean, this game is probably gonna be low scoring. I would say
yeah,
take the under in this one. Well, I mean, the under's low. It's 41.
yeah. I mean that's a
But
tough number. That's a tough number.
yeah, Buffalo's
Uh,
favorite at -4.
I'd probably. I mean, I don't like to bet on my team's games, but I'd probably take Buffalo just because of the
Yeah, I
way
agree.
the Pats have looked the past couple weeks.
Yep.
So
Moving on, we got Joe Burrow and the Bengals at home against the Tennessee Titans. Titans are favored by 5.5. Over under set at 53.5. Joe Burrow's having a great rookie season.
the dude just is a gamer,
He's
bro.
a gamer, man. He knows
Absolute
how to
gamer.
win. He wants to win. Super competitive. He's willing to take shots. We saw it in LSU. We're seeing it with
Hey,
Cincy. I mean, he's getting
I
pummeled.
almost climbed the board. I was between him and Drew to pick up off the waivers this week.
Mm.
Somehow
I saw you picked up Breeze.
I picked up Breeze, and I think this dude, if you need points in the quarterback slot, this dude goes out and balls. Doesn't matter who he's got on the field, he's gonna ball out. So
Yeah, I mean, he only had under 15 points once, and that was in week 5. That was at Baltimore. Obviously, really tough matchup. But other than that, I mean, he's putting up really good production especially for a rookie. So, I mean,
but it's gonna be a tough matchup. I mean, Titans were 5-0 going into last week, right? If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, they lost to Pittsburgh.
So they're having a hell of a
But yeah,
year.
I mean, Titans defense is, it's decent, but I think Burrow will get his opportunities. I think he'll
Uh,
find some holes in that defense.
let's see. Joe
I
Mixon
think,
sidelined. So
oh yeah, Gio Bernard. It's Gio Bernard's season.
so
Giovanni.
you want to see if he could open up the passing game for Joey.
Yeah,
Because he's got weapons. He's got
great,
weapons out wide.
great receiving back. So if you're a Mixon owner, hopefully you had him handcuffed because I mean Mixon obviously is injury prone.
Yep.
But if Bernard was available, I'm sure you picked him up in your league. The opportunity is going to be there. Last game he had 13 carries, 37 on the ground, 5 catches, 59, and a touchdown through the air. So I would expect that opportunity to be there again here.
Yep.
Derrick Henry, I think, is going to run all over this team. Honestly,
Oh yeah, I mean,
I haven't. He's my number 1 running back this week for fantasy. In my
just the
rankings, check
matchup.
those out if you can.
The
What's up?
matchup the matchup's primed for him to just
Oh,
have
he's
one
going
of
to
those
eat, man.
days. Just have one of those days.
He's got 7 touchdowns on the year already. I mean,
The dude's an absolute
he's like
train. So
he's like
he's a train.
6'8". No, he's like 6. I don't know what his height is, but I mean, he's fucking huge. He's like a linebacker fucking
The
running.
dude's
It's not even
getting
fair.
carries. 20 almost 24 carries a game.
And he gets and
110.
he gets no receiving work, and he's averaging 21 points a game.
The dude is an absolute monster.
He's an animal. I should have taken him at 2.
And what do you expect?
Honestly,
Alabama
like
product. I think, yeah. I mean, this might be probably one of the biggest performances of the week, I think.
honestly, yeah.
Just because of the matchup and straight
I mean,
dominance. Could run
he
over
put
it.
up 42 against Houston in week 6. He had 212 on the ground with 2 touchdowns. I would expect similar numbers here. I mean, especially against this Bengals team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, easy RB1 play. Easy, easy, easy.
I mean, Ryan Tannehill starting to shape up a little too. So,
Yep. I mean, he's kind of like a hidden gem, I feel like.
Absolutely. I
I mean,
mean,
you could. I
well,
mean, you
when you
could. I
think
mean, at this point,
you
go
think
ahead.
Tennessee Titans, you're like, eh. But Tannehill's been showing out a little bit this
Oh,
year,
well,
and
I
I
mean,
think it's
yeah.
I don't know, I wouldn't say it's gone unnoticed. It's just low key compared to a lot of
It's like
stuff that's
so,
going.
yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like you don't expect it from because I mean Tannehill has that reputation of like being in Miami, like where like he was average, below average. I mean, even him too. You could talk about a revitalized career
Yeah.
in Tennessee, but you can easily. I mean, at this point in the year, you could start him with confidence as a QB1.
Yeah, if you're running in a deep league, you could definitely be a QB1.
No doubt. AJ Brown, I believe, is questionable now. Um, he had a great game last week against Pittsburgh. I think he put up like almost 30 fantasy points in PPR. Let me just double check. Yeah, he went 6-153 touchdown, and that was against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, top 5 defense in the league in my opinion. So it's a favorable matchup, but he is questionable with a knee injury. He was held out of practice today, so we'll see going into tomorrow what his status is. I mean, if he practices in at least a limited fashion tomorrow, probably be a game time decision going into the weekend, but he would be trending up. So,
All
but if he does play, fire him up. Probably a wide receiver 2 for me.
right. All right. In terms of who you think, um,
I'd take Titans for sure. I'd take
yeah,
Titans on the
I think it's an easy cover, 5.5.
yeah.
Cover 5.5.
I mean, you could probably lock that. Um, but that's for another day. We got a locks column in the works.
All right, all right.
Now I'll move on to Raiders Browns. Browns hosting the Raiders. This in Cleveland. This is another rain in the forecast. Cleveland's favored by 2.5. Over under set at 50.5. Oh
I
man,
think
where's
this is going to be a
Art?
battle, bro.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Raiders are a tough team. Physical, Browns are a tough team. Odell out for the year with a torn ACL. It's gonna be a lot of people are wondering who's gonna step up in the receiving game. It should be Jarvis Landry, but he's playing through a broken hip that came out last week. But he still somehow suits up every Sunday. I mean, he toughs it out, man.
Like
But
I
I mean,
said
obviously
before,
Landry's the wide receiver 1 in Cleveland now. We're not sure what his target share, his opportunity is going to be like, but he'd probably be probably a low wide receiver 3, like flex play for me. Uh,
Landry.
yeah,
Well, I think with that injury, maybe, but I mean, if I forget what week it was, but he was mossing people, and then
Oh,
the
the
easy
few drops he
catches,
had, he could have had a bigger day. Yeah,
Mr. Stonehands.
but
But I think,
I'm
yeah,
sure again,
with that injury,
yeah, I'm sure the
with
injuries played a part in that.
with the injury, yeah, I'd say probably wide receiver 3. I agree.
Yeah. And without Odell there, I mean, Chubb's still out, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're probably going to feed Hunt a little bit. I would think. They're going to want to run the ball, but I think Stefanski's going to roll out a lot of 2 tight end sets too. Um, I don't think Hooper's going to play this week. They don't
Yeah,
sound too optimistic.
he's sidelined.
So rookie Harrison Bryant. He was in my free agency column yesterday. Scoop him up. I mean,
Yeah.
if you need help, if you need tight end help, if you want to flex him, you can.
I feel
But
like
yeah,
it's always a
him and
position people are
Brian
looking.
and Njoku. I'm
Yeah.
expecting like 2 tight end sets to come out. But yeah, I think Hunt's gonna have a good day. Landry, maybe like 5
Well,
catches.
and then it goes back to, is Baker going to show up? He balled out last week, but
The model of inconsistency.
he's Mr. Inconsistent. So you
You
just
know, he
gotta
comes in.
pray. You gotta pray he's in game mode. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I mean that whole offense revolves around Baker, and if they see him struggling early, they're not gonna hesitate to just feed Hunt and give him the ball, 15, 20 times.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on the other side of the field, I think we got a couple good things we could key in on. You know, the Raiders have looked very good this year.
Yeah, I mean they beat the Saints.
opposed to their 3-3 record. 3-3 record, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
3-3.
Derek Carr has been pretty steady all year, and I think Nelson Aguilar is slowly becoming one of his go-to guys.
Yeah.
So, um,
I have Aguilar in my and I had him in my free agency column, and like you said about Carr, I mean he's quietly having like a good year
yeah, yeah,
out there in
absolutely,
Vegas.
absolutely.
So he's a great streaming option this week if you need a quarterback. I'm sure he's still available. He's only rostered in 42% of leagues, so scoop him up if you can. If you need help at quarterback, if you got someone on a bye, I got Watson on a bye, so I'm starting Carr this week. I'm pretty confident in that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Ride with him.
Henry Ruggs, their little deep threat guy. It doesn't get the volume of like a. I mean, yeah, he doesn't get the volume of like a wide receiver 1 or 2, obviously, but he's a boomer bust play.
Yeah, I mean, if he has those 1 or 2 really big catches, God bless him. He's
Yep,
gonna get you the points, but yeah,
I mean
he
that's
just
he's
doesn't get the volume. He doesn't get enough volume to warrant
a
that
start, I would think.
solid wide receiver 2,
Hmm.
play.
Yeah, I think he's a risky flex play at best for me anyway.
Absolutely.
And we touched on Aguilar, quietly becoming Carr's go-to guy. Um, I mean,
I
Darren
think
Waller is he's still the number one receiving option on that team. Obviously, dude's a
yeah,
beast.
he's gonna be car. They're gonna get in the red zone, and if they're not in running territory,
Hmm.
he's gonna look for Waller in that zone. And when they need those couple yards, big third down plays, he's gonna be his guy. So
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
targeted 9 times a game. So
Hmm.
Waller's definitely a good tight end play.
Yeah, easy tight end one. Josh Jacobs, he's been banged up. He's questionable. He was limited in practice today. Not having the greatest year. Not really involved too much through the air. Early in the year, week 1, he had 25 carries, then he had 27 against New Orleans, and then it's kind of like gone down each week. So, I mean, I guess.
I still think he's a great running back, but it's just
Oh,
I
yeah,
think it has to
100%.
do
Me
with
too.
injuries. So
Yeah. I
it's
mean, if
tough.
especially, I mean, even if he plays, if he's banged up, I think he's
It's
probably a
tough
low
for
end.
fantasy owners because you want that guy to produce, and I think it's just been a tough year for him. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, we're only halfway through, so I mean, there's a lot of season left. Um, but if he does play this week, he'll probably be a little banged up. So I mean, he'd be a low end, probably RB2 play for me.
yep, right there with you.
Moving on, we got Detroit hosting the Colts. Colts are favored by 3. Over under is set dead even at 50. What are you thinking about this one?
The more I look at this schedule, the more I think it's going to be a lot of good games this weekend, and I'm excited for Sunday.
A lot of close ones. I mean,
I'm I'm legit excited for Sunday. There's you look there's Kansas City, New York Jets. That's gonna that's just typical.
what's gonna
Kansas
happen
City
there.
should blow them out. But there's a lot of matchups this weekend that I am excited to tune into. Um, I got Matt Stafford, so I'm hoping he
Fire him up,
stays
baby.
consistent. But give me 120 plus game. Give me one time. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's
He
start
doesn't
hot.
have he doesn't have a 20 plus
It's
game yet.
just slow. I think he might have had one early on, but he's been consistently like 19, 18.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad. I mean, yeah, obviously you
No, you
want.
can't be mad. You
I
can't be
mean,
mad
yeah, like
about
you'd
it.
like to see a little bit more, but I mean, like 18, 19 consistently, or 15 to 20 consistently each week, like you can't be too mad about it. Um, Indy does present a little bit of a tough matchup. I mean, their pass defense is, I think, one of the tops in the league. So maybe a little DeAndre Swift action.
Well, that's what we were saying.
Give me
We were
some
saying
fantasy.
that we were trying to say that on Tuesday, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
when are they gonna
Like
cement?
yeah.
When are they gonna cement Swift as the guy? Listen, I love AP to death,
Oh, me too.
Mister Highlight.
Yeah,
Like,
he's a legend. I mean, but how old is he
but
now? He's
this
like
dude
35,
Swift can
30.
ball. This dude Swift can ball.
And like, I mean, everyone is asking the same question. Like, when is Patricia gonna just let him loose? Just give him like 15 to 20 on the ground, target him through the air. I mean, I think he can handle that workload. So maybe we'll see that Sunday. But remains to be seen. Kenny Golladay.
It's just surprising. You'd think that with the roster on paper looks really good, but they just never they just they're still I feel like an average team. Kenny Golladay,
inconsistent,
absolute beast. I feel like Marvin Jones should be having a better year. Because there's so much action on this offense, and I don't know, they've had a really slow year, and I think there could be more done in that wide receiver 2 category for the Lions. So
yeah, I mean Jones had his opportunity. I mean Golladay missed the first 2 weeks of the season with a hamstring injury. He didn't really grab it like people thought he would.
Yeah.
Like Golladay was out. People were like, "Hey, Marvin Jones." Yeah, you too. Yeah,
I thought
a lot of people didn't really grab it like. So
I thought I hit that 1-2 punch. Matt Stafford, Marvin Jones. Let's ball out, boys, and it just didn't happen. So,
but I mean, I think Galladay's probably a safe wide receiver 2 play this week, just because of his volume.
Yeah, he's consistent.
There's a lot of action in that offense. Made a huge catch against Atlanta last week, that set him up in the red zone. Stafford found T.J. Hockenson, our guy. I love Hockenson, man.
Great tight end play. Great player. Just a solid tight end. He does everything. He could block. He could catch. You tell him anything, he'll do it. So,
yeah, he's got a touchdown in 3 straight games. So I mean, fire him up with confidence this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stafford's going to want to find him, obviously. Jonathan Taylor on the Colts, running back, having a good year.
You love to see it because I think a lot of people took the chance. They rolled the damn dice.
They rolled the dice, baby. That's what we want to see.
I think Jonathan Taylor was a great draft pick because how good the Indianapolis Colts offensive line is. I mean,
oh yeah.
Not to take anything away from Jonathan Taylor, but you have to have a good offensive line to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To put in work in the
holes, yeah,
in the National Football League. The dude can straight run the ball. Not going to take, but the offensive line, probably the best in the NFL.
It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be like top 5 graded, I would think.
Yeah, at least. So, but the dude's having a heck of a year, and
And there's not a lot of you look at the Colts and there's not a lot of players that you'd want, but I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor's that guy. So I mean, if you drafted him, I mean, great, because I mean, I for sure overlooked him. I wasn't even thinking about him.
Hey, I was like Marlon Mack because I knew that offensive line was great, so I was like Marlon Mack.
A lot of people had Mack pegged too.
Typical fashion. Typical team burn fashion.
Gets hurt. Yep.
So, it happens, but
it is what it is. Dude, this is tough, man. I don't know where to go with this one in terms of betting. I mean, I want to take the Colts.
I'd have to
maybe take an alternate spread. Maybe take
I'm going with my boy Matt Stafford. Although I think the Colts defense, they've had some injuries, and I think a couple people are coming back, so that might deter this. But I'm gonna go Lions plus 2.5.
Damn. All right.
A lot of dogs.
We love that, man. Taking the gambles, love to see it. I mean, I would maybe take the Lions to a little alternate spread, maybe plus 4.5, 5.5. Have them cover,
I respect it.
But we shall see. Should be a good one. Next up, we got the 1-5 Vikings against the 5-1 Packers at Lambeau. Green Bay heavy favorite here, -6.5. Over/under's 50.5. I think Dalvin Cook's coming back for this one.
Yeah, I think I saw that as well.
He's been practicing, so.
I mean, after losing to
the Bucks.
The Green Bay had. I think they learned their lesson. They're just going to come out. You see, Devontae Adams last week.
Oh yeah, 42 points.
The connection from Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams. The guy just straight balled out.
Carried the load, and you kind of figured without Jones, Rodgers was going to lean on Adams on his number one
Absolutely,
receiver.
but you think that there'd be something in place to at some point you just somebody's gotta man up and man coverage, double coverage. I don't care. You're stopping
But
this.
still, I mean, you double cover him. I mean, he's so good. He's going to find.
I
He's going
get
to find
that,
his
but we've played
triple
sports.
cover him.
I played basketball, so if you want something done, you go and do it. You lay down the law. In basketball, you're gonna slap the floor. You're gonna tug a shirt. You're gonna do whatever it takes. All right,
Yep.
and they just Davante Adams bullied them, and the guy is a phenomenal
Yeah.
player.
I mean,
And
I
he
was
can
super
play that.
disappointed because I thought the Texans had a shot in that game. And, they just came out and they just they just rolled over. And it was disappointing to see because I mean, I love Watson. I want to see him do well, but I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
but,
The Packers came out and just stomped them.
I think the Packers are
Vikings
trying to
are
prove
reeling right
something.
now.
They're trying to prove something. Aaron Rodgers is out here proving that he still got it.
Yep.
He's still flinging the ball around. I like to say he's, you know, Patrick Mahomes makes all these throws, but Aaron Rodgers was sort of doing this before him, and a lot of people say that. So
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers played at an elite level for so long, and then he kind of fell up, and now he's back, and he's kind of like you said, just reminding people like, hey, I'm still here. So
exactly.
and he makes it look so easy. Like he just flicks the ball and it goes 60 yards.
Exactly.
So a little side note, a little surprise actually. I mean, Allen Lazard, wide receiver 2 on the Packers. He underwent core muscle surgery about a month ago, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. He's practicing this week. There's really no word on his status yet. They said he participated in today's padded practice, so I guess he has a shot to play Sunday. And if he does, I mean, you could fire him up with confidence too. I mean, he's got, low floor. He's gonna have a high ceiling, a lot of upside there, especially in that matchup against Minnesota. Because he'll be the number 2 option right behind Davante. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's going to be a pass heavy offense anyway because the way that Rodgers is throwing the ball. So if he does play, he could be a good flex wide receiver 3 maybe.
And I'm sure I don't know. I know you traded him to me, so obviously when that came out, I'm gonna hang on to him just because I don't want to lose him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hang on him. But I mean, I'm sure he's got to be available in most leagues. I'm sure people forgot about him too. Yeah, he's only rostered in 24% of leagues. So, scoop it. I mean, if not this week,
I'm pretty sure I picked him up off the waivers early because I just knew about him. A lot of people just don't know about him.
No, you drafted him.
Maybe I drafted him late.
See, yeah. You drafted him late, and then we did the Gaskin for Lazard deal.
Yep.
Kind of a fleece, but we'll see. We'll see how it pays off.
Well, I mean, now I'm rocking Gibson. Now I'm rocking Gibson.
I mean, yeah, Gibson's solid.
So don't get your hopes up about Mr. Fleece over here, GM of the year. So he's got to fleece everybody every time. Every time you make a damn trade, you got to fleece somebody.
I got to be in the running again this year.
Yeah, well, I'm worst GM of the year, so I don't want to hear it.
I'll take the Packers. I would take the -6.5. I think they win by at least a touchdown here.
Yeah, the Vikings they've been struggling, and I don't think they really get anything going. I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, Dalvin Cook just run the ball head down, scores, gets hurt, they're up, and then next thing he comes back from the locker room, they're down 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's like Dalvin Cook's not playing, they're screwed. But
Justin Jefferson, huge surprise. I mean, dude, he boomed in week 3. Everyone grabbed him. Had a low game against Seattle, 3 for 23 in week 5, and then week 6 he comes back against Atlanta, 9 for 166 and 2 touchdowns. Almost 40 fantasy points coming off the bye. The Packers, they're winning games off their offense right now. Their defense isn't, anything
Absolutely.
formidable or nothing. So fire Jefferson up I think he's a wide receiver 2 play this week.
Yeah, I mean, you love it's once again one of those teams on paper. Kirk is, solid QB, but he has his issues. Adam Thielen.
Could you imagine if they had a solid like I'm not saying Cousins is like a terrible quarterback or anything, but like imagine if they had like I don't know, just like
A
a solid,
stud.
like a more
A
yeah,
stud.
like a
Yeah.
stud, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They'd be they I wouldn't say they're dominant, but they'd be
Like you throw
better than 1-5. They'd be better
someone
than
like Watson in there, like in the Vikings offense,
yeah,
like they'd be eating.
absolutely.
And I mean, like they already kind of are eating. I mean, they're losing games just because they're like their defense.
Yeah.
So banged up. They lost a lot of guys over the offseason. So but yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
take the Packers to cover that.
It's a tough time to be a Vikings fan.
Oh, for
Tough
sure.
time. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Vikings probably gonna win by a touchdown, so take them -6.5.
Word. Next up, the winless Jets 0-7. They got to go to Kansas City, play the 6-1 Chiefs.
All right, so play everybody on the Chiefs. It's gonna
Obviously,
put up hella points. All right, next game. That's all we need to talk about. It's gonna be a lot.
I think this is the. I mean, this is. I think they said this is the largest spread for a game so far this season. Chiefs 19.5. They're favored by.
And it's just tough because last week that first half Jets team looked like they finally figured some stuff out. They still couldn't score, but it started there was a glimpse of hope for New York fans. Glimpse of hope.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
And
bad for Jets fans, man.
they
It's
get
rough.
they lose. Was it all field goals that they lost to? I think they
Yeah,
lost to
dude.
on field goals. Yeah.
Fucking Bass kicked 6 field goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they lose, and now they got to run into
Pat
the
Mahomes and the Chiefs, the
Pat
defending
Mahomes
Super Bowl
and the
champs.
Chiefs,
And you got to go to Kansas City.
and
That's even worse.
and Vegas has you
If I'm a
19
Jets
and a
player,
half.
I'm looking. I'm like, dude, they're not even giving us a chance. I mean, they're gonna come out. Obviously, they have
Hey,
nothing to lose. But I mean, I can't see them going into Kansas City and just like
this this is like motivation material for every player in that locker room. You would think.
But I mean, I can't see them going in and like covering that spread. I think the Chiefs win by like I think the Chiefs just blow them out.
Oh,
Honestly,
absolutely, absolutely. And other news, they're well, they have the third pick overall this year.
I think so. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100
The
percent on that.
defensive tackle wants to be traded. So
Oh, Quinnen Williams.
yeah,
He
yeah,
wants to be traded.
yeah.
Fuck. I
So
mean, fuck. I
it's
would want
just
out of there, dude.
well, yeah. That's the problem. Nobody wants to stay there.
The problem
Uh,
is Adam Gase. That's their problem.
absolutely,
I don't know
absolutely.
why they hired him.
But
I mean, people talk about fucking Bell being a cancer,
just
but look
look
at
at these
Gase.
team stats. Okay, 29th in completions, 31st in passing touchdowns, 7th in interceptions, 28th in rushing, 24th in rushing yards, 31st in rushing touchdowns. You know,
Yeah, they're straight up just bad.
points 12th,
It's bad.
32nd. They're obviously the worst team in the
Like
league.
even if you play, I mean, even if you play with the Jets in Madden, I think you would have a rough time. Like,
No. And I kind of feel bad for Sam Darnold because there's high hopes, but it's just a struggle. The guy doesn't have.
yeah.
You love to blame the quarterback, but the dude just does not have time to think.
I mean, you could say, I mean, Tannehill was under Gase in Miami. He goes to Tennessee, and he's.
Yeah.
So I think that's the same thing. I mean, if they,
fire up the Kansas City Chiefs, throw it. You're obviously
but if
playing
I mean,
Mahomes. You're playing Hilaire. Le'Veon Bell's coming back and he probably wants to stick it to the Jets. If they're feeding Le'Veon Bell, you might see
I
a
think the
touchdown or
Chiefs
two from him.
they probably have some stuff dialed up just specifically for Bell, just to get him the touches and just stick it to his former team.
They're gonna be airing the ball
But I
out
mean,
to Tyreek Hill. They're gonna be airing the ball out to Sammy Watkins. They're gonna be airing the ball
Edwards
out to Travis Kelce. It's good. It's gonna be a clinic. It's gonna be an absolute clinic.
Edwards-Helaire is interesting because he scored week 1. He had a great NFL debut. Carried the ball 25 times, scored, and then he went 1, 2, 3, 4. Went 5 games without a touchdown, and people were like freaking out.
Well, here's the other thing. People are freaking out because he didn't have a touchdown, but I'm pretty sure in 2 out of those 3 games or whatever it was, 2 of them got called back.
Yeah, true.
On like
he got 2 called back. But the problem with that is because people drafted him so high, and I mean, he was going in. I know he went 9th overall, um, in our league, but I'm sure he went as high as like fifth or sixth in some other leagues. So, like I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, he hasn't had below 11 fantasy points this year in 7 games. I mean,
What's
he's
he
consistent.
averaging from scrimmage? What's he averaging from scrimmage? That's what I want to know.
His average scrimmage yards.
Yeah.
Let me see.
The dude's he's still doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's still the clear RB1 there. Bell once Bell gets more accustomed to the offense, probably eats into his usage a little bit, but I wouldn't be too concerned about it.
I could see Kansas City giving this man some confidence this week and trying to just run all over the place.
Just letting him loose.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's currently averaging 106 scrimmage yards per game. He's pacing to finish his rookie season with almost 1,700 scrimmage yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Just what I thought.
Next year, the dude's going to go like top 3 overall probably.
Yeah, I mean the dude, he gets the yards. The biggest thing for me was he struggles to. He's not going to be your third down guy, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. He doesn't get those yards, but
well, I mean his touchdown. His touchdown run last week. I mean, it was a tough run. Like he broke some tackles.
He makes tough runs, but if you're gonna run it up the middle, and it's gonna be
it's got to be Bell. It's got to be Bell.
You'd think.
I mean,
you'd think.
Yeah. Bell's probably there. He's gonna be the 3rd down guy. He's going to get some receptions. He'll probably be their goal line guy once he gets more accustomed to the offense. But yeah, I mean Edwards-Helaire, consistent RB2 so far this year.
Yeah, I mean if you want points, you're just going to play everybody on this damn team. So
I mean if you want to stack if you just want to start every Chief in your starting lineup, you'd probably be all right.
If you have that luxury, do it.
Kelsey's looking for a bounce back game last week. He only had 3 for 31. I know you were disappointed. You needed him to have a big game. He did not. Yeah. But it's the Jets. He's going to bounce back. I think he's gonna.
You can't expect the dude to have 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns every game.
Yeah,
but
no, you're right.
The dude's a stud. So I'm not. You can't. You're not even worried about the guy.
He's a very safe tight end. Absolutely. Number 1 tight end in fantasy, obviously. So don't really have to talk too much about him. Tyreek Hill will probably have himself a nice day as well.
Yeah, I mean he'll eat on that jet secondary. Mahomes will lob it up.
Yeah,
he'll probably have a set. I'm calling it here: 72-yard touchdown in the second quarter.
72-yard tutty in the second quarter. All right, I'm gonna hold you.
You heard it here, folks. You're here.
He might have like he might have that, and then he might have like another 60-yard touchdown.
True. We'll see.
Because he's going to burn that secondary.
That's what I think.
But yeah, you know what we're doing. I'm taking that Chiefs spread all the way.
Yeah. Once you see it, you just gotta. You
have to. I mean.
and I think they could cover the over themselves.
Yeah, I agree. It's at 49. They win 50-0.
No, but I'd probably still take the spread. Yeah.
Next up, we got the Rams and the Dolphins. In Miami, Rams are favored by 3.5. Over/under is 46. Tua's first NFL start.
All eyes
are on Tua. The timing was weird for me. But I guess going into the bye,
super random.
I kind of feel bad for Fitzpatrick, but what do you expect? You're an older quarterback. You knew, he had to have known coming into this season that at some point they were going to turn the team over to Tua. So, I could see where he's coming from, but I could also see where the Dolphins are coming from. And I'm sure maybe they wanted to do this earlier, but they were still waiting for Tua to get 100% healthy coming off that hip surgery.
Yeah, I love the storyline with Fitzmagic, but you got to give this kid a shot. So I think it's the right play. It's just I agree.
First NFL start, you're going up against Aaron Donald, so good luck.
Yeah, God bless you.
But I'm sure they're going to use Gaskin's usage. I'm sure is going to be up in this game, kind of try and keep Tua safe.
Well, yeah, you wanna run the ball pretty much as much as you can and try to open up the windows for him to throw to Devontae, throw to Isaiah, and It's going to be interesting.
I think Devontae Parker's due back this week. I think he's been either limited or he might be practicing full. I'm not sure. I was limited today, but he's on track to suit up Sunday. Obviously number one receiver on the Dolphins. Probably a low end wide receiver 2, like high end wide receiver 3 play.
Yeah, especially with Tua's first start. I agree.
Yeah. Jared Goff, he's a good streaming option this week. But I mean, Miami's 3-3. You know, they're not a pushover like they used to be. They're still in their rebuild.
No.
But they're. I mean, I love Brian Flores. I think he's a great coach. I think he's the perfect coach for that team. I think he fits them well. So
what was it, week 2 or 3 where they came out and just showed the league, you know, we're not the measly old Dolphins anymore. We could put up the points. We could play with the big dogs. So and, you got to keep an eye on them.
They have a ton of draft picks this year still. You know, I mean, they could be a really good team, you know, within a few years, especially once Tua develops a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Get some more weapons around them. But I mean, this is a tough game too.
I just think with Tua's first start, I want to see the kid do well, but I still think the Rams just.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great story, but yeah, I mean, I would take the Rams. I'd probably take that -3.5. But I mean, I think the Dolphins put up a fight. You know, I don't think it's a blowout or anything.
Jared Goff has a lot more weapons. Darrell Henderson has looked
that offense is tough to defend too.
Malcolm Brown sneaking some tutties in. Cooper Kupp,
Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
RB2, or probably RB3 play this week.
Yeah, but I'd say RB2.
Yeah.
If he gets in the end zone, if he can get in the end zone, he's a great RB2 play.
He could cop a little tutty. But yeah, I mean, they're tough to defend because they run those play actions. They love play action, jet sweeps, to Woods or Kupp, whatever.
Yeah, except when they didn't do it last week and we needed.
Yeah, I know. I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, I mean, you got 2 deep threats in Kupp and Woods. They're, tough offense to defend. But I still think the Dolphins put up a fight. But yeah, I'll take the Rams to cover.
I agree. I'm with you.
All right, next up, we got great game here. Steelers-Ravens. Ravens coming off of their bye. They're 5-1. The Steelers are still undefeated. They beat the Titans last week. They are 6-0. This is in Baltimore. Baltimore's the favorite by 4. It's a little surprising to me. The over-under's at 46.5. So,
I think the big thing. Well, I guess if you're in the running back department, Mark Ingram, I don't think is playing this week.
No, he hasn't. They said it's like a mid to high ankle sprain. And he hasn't practiced. He didn't practice yesterday. He didn't practice today, especially coming off of a bye. That's not a good sign. He's probably not going to play. It's interesting to think about like what they're going to do because with Ingram there, they had that. It was a running back by committee. They were all kind of splitting the touches. Yep. No one really stepped up and grabbed it. So, I mean, with Ingram out, it's going to be between J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Dobbins has showed a lot of potential. I think if he gets the usage, he could be great.
I agree.
But it all depends,
I'd have to agree. I just think based on from what I've seen this year, Dobbins has caught my eye a lot more. I'm surprised he hasn't carried more of a load for this team this year.
I agree.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out, especially in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely something to keep your eye out.
I looked into it too. Once Ingram left, Edwards and Dobbins, they kind of split. They pretty much split the snaps. Dobbins was getting like the early down work, and Edwards was getting like third downs and like the reception, receiving work.
You would think that's their run styles, and Dobbins is definitely that more playmaker role, whereas Edwards is going to get
like
those
your change of
tough
pace.
yards, which is what pretty much Ingram was doing. He's a beast.
Yeah. Ingram's a tank. Yeah. Yeah, I think defense has finally caught on to like how to defend the Ravens. Like you shut down their running game, you make Lamar throw the ball. Like obviously they're easier to defend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lamar, he hasn't hit 300 yards passing yet this year. He only has 2 games where he went above 200. I mean, after the year he had last year, I mean, you could consider him a disappointment, but he was kind of due for regression.
Yeah, I mean,
in fantasy terms, I would say.
And that just a whole year's worth of film on him and the Ravens and teams figuring out how to play, just like you said. So that's what's going to happen. But the dude still can run the crap out of the ball. He's very talented.
I mean, he's a great talent. Obviously, I'm not taking anything away from him, but I just think
it's a tough
teams kind of caught on. They're like, if we make him throw the ball, we got a shot.
Absolutely. So, it's going to be a tough one though, because the Steelers are they're rolling.
Chase Claypool, maybe a bounce back candidate this week.
Yeah, I mean, he had that huge hat trick game. They were running like jet sweeps to him. He was catching screens. He was doing everything a couple weeks ago. Probably tons of people picked him up, and then he was just, here and there. Not that so good last week. So you want to see him bounce back, get more involved in the offense. But
I think obviously the return of Deontay Johnson hurt him a little bit last week. I think Johnson caught the touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's a good wide receiver 3 play, like flex play this week, I would say, Johnson.
Yeah, flex.
But I still think Claypool's kind of showed off his talent enough to where he's not going to be phased out completely in that offense.
No.
But Johnson definitely takes away from his opportunities.
Yeah, you gotta keep Big Ben's options available, and I think he likes having that. He could pretty much go wherever he wants on the field.
Yeah, I mean, you got Juju, Johnson, Claypool, James Conner out of the backfield, obviously. Great fantasy player. Eric Ebron, yep, tight end play. Juju last week had 9 for 85. Great to see. He had week 5 against Philly. He only had 4 for 28. Week 6 against Cleveland, 2 for 6. So, and then he bounced back with a good game against Tennessee.
Yeah, love to see it.
Yeah, I love Juju. Great player. Great guy. Loves the game.
just absolutely. He's just a good guy, But,
I mean, this is a tough fantasy game to gauge, but I mean, I'd expect Connor to have his day.
He's getting 16 rush attempts, 75 yards. So,
eat his greens.
You keep hoping that he stays in his form because he's been looking pretty good. So,
yeah, he had 20 carries each for the past 2 weeks. So I'd expect that to continue. He's an RB2 play for me.
Sure. Yes, sir.
I would take Steelers. I think I'm gonna take Steelers money line in that one. I'm not gonna take a spread, but I'll take Steelers on the money line.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be a battle. I'd have to agree. I'd stay away from the spread here. If I was, I'd tease, but I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think Steelers move on 7-0, running the AFC North.
Remain the only undefeated team.
Book it.
Lock it. Hammer it down. Next up, Chargers Broncos in Denver. I don't see the lines on this game.
I got Chargers -3. Over under 44.5.
Okay. The battle of 2 and 4s. Broncos looked terrible last week. They're playing the Chiefs, so I mean, cut him some slack. But I mean, Drew Lock is coming off an injury. I think he's still trying to shake off some rust a little bit. My guy Justin Herbert, balling.
He looks good. A lot of people are loving him. So
the way he just came in, he's seamlessly just stepped in, and he looks like he looks like he belongs.
He's very confident. So
yeah,
you love to see that.
He's got 1,500,
especially with the guy who has Keenan Allen on his lineup. You love to see a confident quarterback.
I said too. I said once Herbert got the start, Allen's stock would go up, and I mean it definitely has.
Absolutely.
With Herbert starting. So I mean Herbert, start him with confidence. Keenan Allen, fire him up. Low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2.
I think in the running back category, I think Joshua Kelly's due for a big day soon. I picked him up in my other league because a bunch of guys in bye. I think he could have a big week this week.
Yeah, I'm playing Justin Jackson in our league. Obviously, I mean without Eckler, they're kind of splitting it between Jackson and Kelly. But both are going to have their opportunities.
With the struggling Broncos, I think that there's
But
there's
on
potential there.
on the Denver side, it's interesting because Lindsey's come back and he's kind of like they might be splitting that again because at the beginning of the year it was Gordon, and then Lindsey got hurt, but now he's back and he's looking like explosive again.
Yeah, I mean, when you get looks like that from your a guy who has proven himself before, and then you have another guy in Melvin Gordon, you're probably gonna end up they're probably gonna end up splitting the touches back there. So
Yeah, Lindsey was limited today, so just keep an eye on that. But if Lindsey goes, if you're a little desperate and you want to play him, I think you can.
yeah, I agree.
I think he'll get I think they're gonna split that. I would say. Really, no receiving options on Denver that I'm like too interested in.
I keep, I wouldn't play him, but you want to see some more action from Jerry Jeudy. Um, Especially, I feel like he got a little bit of hype coming out his rookie season, but it's
Yeah,
just tough. Drew Lock hasn't looked great,
yeah.
and he just hasn't produced. So there's
Hmm.
no reason to really put yourself in that position where you don't really know. You don't want to. It's a risk playing him, but if you were to play somebody on the team, you'd hope Jerry Jeudy would start, showing his potential for the team.
Yeah, for sure. Their tight end. Noah Fant. Obviously he's a receiving option. He gets his
Yep.
targets.
Yeah.
If you need a tight end play, throw Fant in there.
Yeah. He's
Just because he's
targeted
gonna get
almost
looks.
7 times a game, 51 yards.
And this guy too, Albert. We touched on him on We wanted to I mentioned him on Tuesday.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't even know how to say his name. Albert Okwu Boonham. We'll go with Okwu
We'll go with
Boonham.
that. Yeah, we'll go with that.
He had 7 for 60. So maybe he gets more involved. I don't know. Denver's, they're tough to gauge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think fantasy wise.
Absolutely.
But I take the Chargers in this one. I think they go in. I think they get a road win.
Yeah.
I think Herbert adds another win.
Yeah, especially the way that Denver's looked. I think the Chargers have actually looked really well, really good
Yep,
lately.
I'd agree.
So throw it on
What's that
Denver
spread?
or throw it on LA
What's that spread again?
-3. So I'd probably take
-3.
that.
Yeah, I would take that. All right, next up, the 425 window, Niners Seahawks. The Seahawks coming off that overtime loss to Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
Tough one.
Um, that divisional race is gonna be awesome. I can't wait to watch that, see how that unfolds.
Absolutely.
The Niners, they're coming off the Pats win. Seattle's -3. Over under's 54.
There's
That's
a,
kind of high.
there's a lot of action going on here because Mostert still hurt. Jeff Wilson was a beast,
Hurt.
but gets hurt late at the end
Mostert's
of the
hurt.
game.
I guess they turned to JaMychal Hasty.
Hasty and McKinnon, and
Jerick McKinnon.
I was saying on Tuesday, I have McKinnon. I ran with him, and he doesn't get a touch until the fourth quarter. So you'd think that Hasty's going to get the brunt of the work this week.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of George Kittle in this one too.
Yeah,
I'd probably bank on Kittle getting at least 10 looks from Garoppolo.
Yep, I agree.
Kittle, obviously,
They're gonna
top 2 tight end in the league. Fire him up with confidence. Easier. That's just easy.
and they're gonna run. I think Deebo Samuel might be a good wide receiver 3 flex play because they love to run him in.
They love getting him involved.
Jet sweeps. It's weird because he's a big dude, but he's fast as hell, and they like to hit him on slants and stuff. But
Yeah.
I could see Jimmy firing at him a few times as well. So
Yeah. He's not playing week 8. Likely going to miss. So not expected to play week 8. Likely will miss the following contest against the Packers. Hamstring injury. I forgot about that, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why everyone was rushing to pick up Brandon Ayuk.
Gotcha. I didn't even know that.
So
actually, I think I heard that, but I completely forgot.
Yeah, completely slipped my mind.
Well, edit that out, editor.
Start Ayuk. He had 6 for 115 last week. Obviously, we just mentioned no Deebo. George Kittle's going to be the top receiving option, and then I would assume Ayuk after that. So he's a good flex play this week, I would say. Tyler Lockett coming off the 53-point game where he had 20 targets from Russell Wilson. I think Metcalf gets more involved in this one, you know.
You would think. I mean, DK is a baller, but you don't fix something that ain't broke, and that's why Wilson just kept feeding Lockett.
Yeah. Lockett's an easy wide receiver 1 play. I think Metcalf is a lower end wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I like to run him. Opinion. I like to run him wide receiver 2 flex. I don't know why. I just always like to keep him in the flex. But I agree. Wide receiver 2 flex.
Cool. Running. I mean, they got a little bit of running back trouble. I don't think Carson's playing. He has a foot sprain. Carlos Hyde. I don't know if he practiced today.
I don't think he did.
Carson's being held out of practice until the end of the week, so he's definitely not gonna. I don't think he's gonna play.
Yeah.
Carlos Hyde. Pete Carroll said yesterday that his hamstring injury is not major, even though the running back did not practice Wednesday. I don't know what his status was today. But you know, DJ Dallas. I think Travis Homer's hurt as well. So I mean, if those guys can't go, DJ Dallas becomes the Seahawks starting running back.
And you sent me his highlight reel from Miami, and that dude
can run, man.
What they call
obviously, you know, take it with a grain of salt. You know, that's in college, but I mean, he looks
in college, but that man,
he's got the juice, man.
He could take a hit and bust out.
He's got the juice. So if he could, I mean, give him an opportunity, maybe he runs with it. You know, it's something to watch. But obviously, if you're a Carson owner, hopefully you have Hyde. If not, I mean, I'm sure DJ Dallas is available. I was able to scoop him up. He's only rostered in 4.6% of leagues. So if you're really desperate for a running back play and he ends up starting, you know, give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got to go with the MVP front runner, Russ.
Yeah. I'm taking Seahawks spread here.
Oh, absolutely.
At home in Seattle.
And to piggyback off that, run it back to me on Sunday after this game happens. I might throw the SGP on this one. I think there's a lot of action that could happen. If I was going to take it, I would probably take Hasty, Kittle, Lockett, and DJ Dallas.
Oh,
I gotta see what those odds would be. That's a nice little juicy SGP.
That's juicy, man.
So we'll see.
I would probably tell you on that, but you know, throw that in the column. Whenever you
look for it. Hopefully, Saturday night I could get something up. But
Saturday night,
this might be my game to throw a little SGP on. Over under 54. So you love to see that from Vegas. It's going to be high. You think it's going to be high scoring?
I would say.
That's
I think
the type of game.
You think over or under?
I'm always I wouldn't bet the over under on this, but if I had to, I'd obviously take the over because I want to see tutties.
All right. So. We love the tutties, man. And then the nightcap, Sunday Night Football, Cowboys Eagles from the Link in Philly. Eagles are favored by 9 points. Over under is 43. It's a low over under. I mean, the Cowboys are reeling right now. They're gonna have to start Ben DiNucci, little Italian guy.
Is he the kid from?
Love to see him represent. But obviously, this hurts Cooper. This hurts Lamb.
Oh, it hurts so much stock for
Zeke. Hasn't looked great. You'd expect, a bounce back game from Zeke. You drafted him as an RB1, so you got to start him. Dare I say, you can maybe look to trade him, see what his value is, see if someone else is willing to take a shot on him. But the emergence of Travis Fulgham has helped Carson Wentz a lot. He may be getting Jalen Reagor back this week. Their first round draft pick from this year.
Yep.
So some reinforcements coming. Boston Scott looks great in place of Miles Sanders, who's hurt. So Boston Scott's a solid RB2 play. Travis Fulgham, low end wide receiver 2. And then I think Jalen Reagor's probably a flex play. if he ends up suiting up.
And then you got Zach Ertz. You hope. I feel like in the past he's like been that household name, but I feel like he's just been low key this year. He's still targeted 7 times. He's catching half of them, but he's only averaging 34. So it's big if he gets in the end zone for you, and if Wentz is looking for him in the red zone. So but he's going to be your typical if you run a tight end, then he's going to be a tight end play, obviously.
Yeah, I think he's out too, right? Zach Ertz.
Is he?
Yeah, he has that ankle injury.
Oh, so the Eagles are going to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think they come out. I think they beat the Cowboys here. They definitely don't.
I mean,
they're not covering -9, but I would put money on Philly.
Yeah,
they got some fans back. They got some of their crazy fans back.
Straight up, I'd take the Eagles. So I agree.
Eagles money line.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then to round out Week 8, Monday night, the Bucks and the Giants.
Hold on. Did we talk Chicago, New Orleans?
Oh, we did not. Whoops, I'm a Saints fan. Wow, completely skipped that one. All right, yeah, Saints Bears in Chicago. The Saints are favored by 4.5. Over under is 43.5. Thomas was at practice today, limited. So keep an eye on his status. Obviously, if he plays, fire him up as a wide receiver 1. Marquez Callaway, I mentioned him in my free agency column. He had 10 targets from Breeze before he got hurt. Caught 8 of them.
Kid looked good.
We love the rookies, man. We want to see the rookies do well.
Absolutely, future of the league.
He was limited in today's practice.
Yeah,
Callaway was.
Yep.
So he's a good flex play if he suits up. Alvin Kamara, obviously,
absolute beast, does everything.
So far, the top fantasy running back. No Sanders again this week, so Kamara. He's always involved in the receiving game, but obviously a little elevated due to the lack of receiving options for the Saints. But he's a beast on the ground too.
Yeah, the dude's just an absolute beast, and we were talking about this Monday. One of the only first-round draft picks that's still healthy.
Yep. Lord willing, man. Lord willing. He gets about 20 to 25 touches a game. He's an easy RB1, every week in, week out. I don't think the matchup really matters. Chicago's defense is, solid, but I'm not scared, starting Kamara. So
no, absolutely. The guy's gonna get his, so easy.
He's gonna get his bread. Allen Robinson.
Money.
He's in the concussion protocol. He didn't practice today.
Big news there. Big news.
Not looking good for Sunday. Great news for the Saints because their secondary is
rough.
It is bad news, man. They might have a tough time with that guy Darnell Mooney, honestly.
You'd hope that
Mooney. I think it's Mooney.
Halfway through the season, they'd start figuring it out. But
hey, maybe Sunday's the day. You never
know.
I
would, if I had to point out one weakness for the Saints, it's definitely their secondary.
It's I mean their pass coverage is so spotty. But I mean you could argue too the past 2 weeks. That game against the Chargers, Lattimore makes a huge tackle on 4th down. That ends the game. And then even last week too, defense won the game.
Yeah.
Against Carolina. I mean, Sly obviously missed the game-tying field goal, but their
defense
holds serve when it matters the most. But yeah, I mean their pass coverage is spotty. I expect David Montgomery to be involved. Obviously,
he had a couple big games at the beginning of the year, but he's struggled a little of late. But you'd think he'd start opening up a little bit the second half.
Yeah, he's a low end RB2 flex play from high end flex play for me. In terms of I don't know. Bears are 5-2. I'll take the Saints in this one.
Yeah, straight up Saints.
Saints money line.
I don't know. I just don't don't have much faith in the Bears and the
Yeah,
Saints. Solid Breeze, vet, Kamara's a beast. Just gotta ride him.
100%. All right, so that leaves us with, I think now leaves us with the Monday night game, Bucks and Giants at MetLife. I don't have the lines on this one. I can't see them.
I got Tampa Bay -12.
Ooh,
Over
interesting.
under 45.
Interesting.
A lot of people are hot take. A lot of people. Tampa Bay best team right now.
In the NFL?
In the NFL right now. After their performance last week. Did they finally figure it out? Have they finally hit their stride?
They have. Yeah, no, they have. I think they're still I think they're still in the middle of hitting their stride. I mean, they're definitely um they're getting up there, man. I mean,
Does Tom
they're starting to
Brady
fire.
know when fourth down is? When it's third down though?
I think he does now.
You'd hope.
I think he figured it out.
But
I mean,
but
yeah,
I was saying
obviously
earlier, Vegas is favoring him this much, but low key, as a Pats fan, big kryptonite over in New York.
you never know, man.
You'd hate to see it still whip for him over at Tampa Bay, but
I mean the Bucks, I mean, they got the pedal to the metal right now. They're accelerating. I mean, a loss here would just, send them crashing down. It's tough for me to see them dropping this game.
I mean, Tom Brady last week just.
I would say I think they're the hottest team in football right now. But I mean, for me,
that's a good point.
I think right now the Steelers are the best team in the league. I'd probably go Steelers, Hawks, Titans, Bucks. So I mean, the Bucks are in my top 5. But
Chiefs.
Oh yeah, how can I forget? All right, so Steelers, Chiefs, Titans, Bucks. No, Steelers, Chiefs, Hawks, Titans, Bucks.
Okay, that's
Bucks are my top 5.
Respectable.
But I will say,
it's top 5 right now.
I'll say the Bucks are the hottest team in football right now.
Come back to me in 2 weeks. I'll give you mine.
Yeah. Brady, I think, is a top 10 quarterback play going forward. Now that he's finally in a rhythm with that offense. He doesn't have Godwin this week. He had fractured finger. He had a procedure on, so he misses this week.
Doesn't really matter though. Mike Evans, stud. Scotty Miller, standard Tom Brady target, and you got the big pickup for them, Antonio Brown. Is he playing this week?
Mm-mm. His suspension's through. It's through this week.
Oh, it's through this week. Okay.
And then he would come back in week 9. But a little COVID note. I know the Giants. I think they had a positive test. I think their entire offensive line is in like quarantine or some shit.
Yep.
So if that game, this is like worst case scenario, but if the game gets postponed, Antonio Brown would then miss the game against the Saints because his suspension, it would carry over, and then he would come back. He would play in week 10. So
something to think about, fantasy owners. Are you gonna roll the dice? And you probably already did, picking up Antonio Brown early.
I wish I picked that baby. Dude picked him up a minute before I was pissed. But it is what it is.
You're always hawking. But yeah, I mean, the 43-year-old GOAT, he's looking good. He was looking really good last week.
Ronald Jones is a beast. He's an RB2 for me.
You want to see some more production from Fournette. I picked him up on my other league, so hope you see a little more production out of him.
Yep. And then on the Giants side, Wayne Gallman. I don't think Freeman's playing this week. I know he's banged up. The Giants are really high on Gallman. They've said it before. They love Gallman. He'd probably be in for a workhorse type of role. So, I mean, a low-end RB2 if Freeman can't go and Gallman steps in. Darius Slayton. I think he's playing this week.
I think he's playing. I think that he might have aggravated his whatever it was, turf toe. Was that his issue?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's good now though. So I think he's probably a flex play for me just based on his recent results.
Especially with you never know what you're getting with Daniel Jones.
Obviously with Jones there, I mean, all the Giants are kind of hit or miss. But I mean, I think in terms of fantasy, Wayne Gallman's probably the most secure option. If you're looking at Giants.
And Ingram. He loves Ingram. They love running. They've been running jet sweeps with him, I'm pretty sure,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The dude is like a silver bullet. The guy can straight
He's
up
a
run.
monster.
He's looking like a damn wide receiver out there or
He's a
something.
monster.
So, and then also we didn't even mention Rob Gronkowski last week, starting to become more and more accustomed to that playbook, I guess. And
yeah, we kind of figured that was going to happen. I mean, it was a really slow start, and people were kind of wondering, like, why they even brought Gronk there. And Arians is, he's going to tell it like it is.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care how many, like, as long as we win football games.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, it was bound to happen because Brady and Gronk, they've had that connection for like over a decade now. So,
and that's
I mean, it's good. It's good for Gronk. It's obviously good in fantasy terms if you have Gronk. You fire him up as a tight end one.
Absolutely, brother. I'm not going to take the spread, just because it's 12.
Yeah, no, I would take.
Tampa Bay.
I'm taking Bucks money line. Yep, I would agree. All right, I think that does it for week 8. That's the little preview show. Hopefully we touched on what you guys wanted us to. If you have any questions, if you need any advice, just hit up the Twitter. It's at RTD Fantasy, Roll the Dice Fantasy. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and watched. We're gonna hope to drop a like locks of the week, little parlays.
Yeah, keep your eye out. Saturday night we're gonna try to get some betting stuff in there.
Yep.
What we think our locks are. We like to run the same game parlay from FanDuel because you could bet $10 on a game and you get it back if it doesn't hit, as long as it's better than plus 200 or worse than plus 200, whichever you want to take that.
Maybe a little sponsor in
the
future.
And then we also love to do tutty parlays, so we might run a couple of those.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for it. It's what's the website name?
The website is rollthedicefantasy.com. So we'll hope to have that the bets column out Saturday night. We'll be tweeting during the game Sunday, and then we'll hope to have we're gonna do a review podcast and a preview podcast. So this is the preview, obviously.
And we want to get everybody involved, so we also hit our Twitter.
Hit the Twitters.
Comment what your thoughts are. We want to know, and then we're also working on a Discord. So we want to get what are your picks for the week? What are some stupid parlays?
Yeah, we definitely want to
moral locks. What are you rolling the dice on? We want to know.
For sure, man.
Get involved.
We want to get you guys involved. We hope to do we're gonna hope to do some live streams in the future, some Q&As. My personal Twitter, Liam's personal Twitter, it's up on the website. Just the little Twitter icons in the top right corner. So definitely check those out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Peace.